WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American here in Germany, tasting often rare and exotic whiskeys. Look what I have! Glencadam, aged 15 years, Reserva de Madeira, Madeira Cask finish, Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, established 1825, the limited 2008 edition Madeira Cask, unchilled filtered natural color, yay! So, 2008 distilled, 2023 bottled. We have a total of 5,826 bottles. Let's see, which bottle do I have here? I have 5,068 of 5,826. So they printed all these labels individually. It's no real big problem. It just costs a little bit more. And Whiskybase 246031, and the price is 120 euros. Ouch. I just think that's way too much. The Glencadam 15 is normally under 60 euros. So you're paying almost 60 euros more. It's double the price. It's just bugs me, you know? So it's just like, why? All right, so I'll just put it in here. Now, why did I buy the bottle? Well, because there's two new bottles just came out, hit the German market, the 15 and 17-year-old. I will be reviewing this real soon after that. That's the Pedro Jimenez quarter cask. Dark as the night, yeah. All right, my comparison whiskey. It is not Madeira, but it is a standard. It is 15 years of age. It is 46%. And we're talking about something that's between about 75 euros. I've seen it up to 90 at the moment, which, like, why? But 75 euros is still something where I can go, I would buy this again. Would I buy this again for the 120? Well, let's find out. That's one of the things that we do here as we evaluate the whiskey, we review by tasting, and we explain a little bit, and then I give my recommendations for the taste experience as well as the value for money. All right, before I do that, I like to give in almost every single video a little bit of a tidbit of information. My wonderful Malt Whiskey Yearbook 2024. And it says here at the beginning, and I didn't know this myself here, it says, at one time there were 8 distilleries on the east coast between Aberdeen and Dundee. These were, and still are, fertile lands, and the proximity to high-quality barley was the reason for the establishment. 2 of them, so I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm sure, so it's Auch in Blé and Glencool, closed already in the 1920s. And with the big whiskey crisis back in the 1980s, remember that, where everything closed down, Rosebank, Brora, and so on, we also closed down the Glen Esk, we closed down the Glentory Royale, we closed down the Lochside, and the one I forgot about, Northport. So there were only 2 survivors left on the East Coast. That was Fettercan, and further to the south, we had here Glencadam. Now, in the year 2000, Glencadam shut down as well. So, yeah. And then 2003, Agnes Dundee came and they bought up the distillery. They reopened it 2005. And ever since then, they've been pushing the segment of single malts as well. I thoroughly enjoy the Glencadam 10-year-old. I really like the 15-year-old and the 18 and the 21 and so on. I like Tomentau, the sister distillery owned by the same company. Very, very, very nice. So Glencadam makes good products. They used to be much better priced than they are now. They switched to distributors over here in Germany. We had about a 10 to 20% price hike because of that. And then we had the year 2023 where things got a little bit crazy with the prices of whiskey. I hope there'll be a little bit of correction. So, but this, as I said, 120 euros. So the normal 15, between 60 and 70, so I can get almost 2 normal for one of these. So they both have 46%. They're both non-chilled filtered. They're both no color added, natural color. Just, does this also say non-chilled filtered, no natural color? This also in the 15-year-old still says the bottle that I have here. This was from, oh, I need to look here. I always hate finding this. This is from 2019. Wow. So I have a 2019 version here. Okay, the good old days. But it still says Rachel Berry on here. So, yep. On the nose, a fruity nuttiness. It's a little bit like a fruit cake. You know, that Christmas type of fruit cake. In Germany, we have the Stollen. It has a little bit of that. There's a little bit of powdered sugar in there. There's a little bit of like a caramel butterscotch. There's a little bit of dried fruits going on, and there's a little bit of a doughy moment going on in there. And there's a nice, the Madeira is, I do like Madeira. I like the Madeira from the bottle, and I like Madeira finished whiskeys or full maturations. And maybe that would be my first question of the day. It's going to be three. The first question is, what Madeira finished whiskey or full maturation whiskey do you recommend? All right. 120 euros. If it had been fast, if it had been cask strength, I would have been like, all right, yeah. But 46% people. I mean, really? 120 euros? I don't know. I do have tasting notes. I'll read those in a second. They're on the. I must admit, Glencadam has some of the best tasting notes outside of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, SMWS. They have very good tasting notes. So, cheers. The first thing that struck me was there's some heat for the 46%. As if let's say if you distilled this 2008, you let it sit until 2022, maybe even 2023. You re-rack it into Madeira casks, and then those are some old tired casks that were there, in my personal opinion. That's what I'm tasting here. Yeah, a little bit of bitterness, and then that Madeira cask finish kicks in at the end. It's a nice finish. I would almost like to have a little bit more in the first part of the palate and even the mid palate instead of just in the aftertaste with that echo that comes in there. So it goes, and then it's very, 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 yeah, inviting. I'm trying to look for a word there that it's okay to say. All right, it's almost sensual is what I wanted to say at the end. On the nose, there's a little bit of a sour acidity. Let's do one more, and then we'll go over to the Glendronach. There is a certain mouth coatingness there. It's like wait, bitterness, old casks. And it takes a while. It's like it's still going on, but it's not where it should be. And then now, I'm talking the whole time, that Madeira cask kicks in 10 seconds after you swallow. It's kind of unique. It's a C. I almost gave it a C- in my German video. The youthfulness of the casks caught me off guard. It is a 15-year-old whiskey. So we have on the nose, it should have inviting aromas of butterscotch and ginger biscuits mingled with caramelized pecans, dried pineapple, and baking spices. On the palate, I should be having here mouth coating layers of peach cobbler. We don't have that in Germany. Golden syrup. We don't have that in Germany. Interesting enough. And cream caramel married with toasted walnuts, praline, and candied peels. And the finish is impressions of brandy butter. This is the third time in about 2 months I've heard the phrase brandy butter. Never had it. Don't know what it is. You mix in some brandy with your butter? I don't know. There's a gap in my knowledge of food. Surprise, surprise. All right. Honey cake, salted caramel. No, I've had more. I've had some whiskeys with a lot of salted caramel. I don't really get that here. Leaving a dark chocolate and cinnamon glow. Talk about great tasting notes. Have you ever had anyone else say, oh, it leaves a cinnamon glow? Tulabadine has a cinnamon glow. If I were going out and going to buy something, I would not have pulled this out had it not said cinnamon glow. This has a little bit of a cinnamon glow. This, value for money, 120 euros is a D-. I would not buy this again. All right, now, the question is, what Madeira Cask finish or full maturation whiskey can you recommend? What product do you enjoy from Glencadam? I enjoy the 10. That's the second question. And the third question is, I'm going to try the Glendronach 15 here. 75 euros, as I said. Pedro Jimenez, the Oloroso, the dark chocolate, wonderful. What whiskey can beat the Glendronach 15 at the price of 75 euros? The only one I know at the moment, Glenadach 15. Oh, that's so good. I mean, great, great, great stuff. Billy Walker knows his ways around those good casks there. All right, so that was my comparison of these two. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, telling others, maybe even commenting. Madeira Cask finish, Glencadam, which one's the best and which one could beat the Glendronach 15 or the Glenadach 15 for that matter, for that price point of about 75 euros. Thank you very much. See you real soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.